Hey guys, so there's this mass awakening process going on all over the world, and I just want to talk a little bit about it, just for people to get an understanding. Because over the days, people have just continuously kept asking me, "Oh, how did you reach this internal state of happiness? How did all this come along? Blah 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 blah." And I keep explaining it to them because my intention is to just help those who really need it, help those who are on the verge of trying to make a change in their lives. And this so happened that I fell into like a pit hole. I fell into the rabbit hole, and I was like, oh, what do I? At one point, I was like, oh my God, I cannot survive. I was doing a job I didn't like, and I was doing things that I was really not proud of. I wouldn't even say proud. I didn't even feel authentic. I didn't even feel like I was being me. I was working at a store, and I was doing a sales job, and I was driving Uber for a while, and it just didn't feel me. And at one point, I just had to quit everything because I was feeling so stressed out. I was feeling so distressed. And as I kept doing these things, question after question after question after question started popping up in my head. I said, what is this life? This is not meant to be it. I know I'm not here in this universe for this particular purpose. And as these questions started happening, and then I also fell in between all of this, I also fell into a bunch of relationships that didn't work. Some were toxic, some were like semi-toxic, but at the same time they were things I just couldn't stand. And once I like got off the relationships, I felt that neediness, that clinginess, and I started realizing certain aspects in myself that were repeating continuously after and after and after and after. So at one point I looked back at my life and I thought, okay, fine, I'm going to join the dots and see what these patterns are. And this doesn't come like that. It just I took a lot of help from YouTube. I took a lot of help from YouTubers that were going through this process. And then what I realized is we are all going through an awakening. It's not that I realized that, and I got support from different YouTubers and different people talking about the same things. They were just saying the same experiences on YouTube so that other people could benefit off of it, people like me. And at one point, what happened, I started seeing repeating numbers. And these repeating numbers became like, I started seeing 1111, or 111, or 323, or 4 ones. And I knew I was not going insane, okay? For a fact, I knew I was not going insane. I knew that I was seeing these numbers and I was not going crazy. Okay, and then these numbers started repeating again and again and again and again and again. And for every person, usually, I mean, the numbers kind of like mean the same to some extent, but for every person, it's a little different. It can go to, and for example, for like 555 is change that is coming for a person. 333 is to align the mind, body, and soul, like 3 aspects of it, to align all of them together. 666 is to pay attention to your thoughts. 777 is like the spirit is, the universe is always with you and they're supporting you and you have their support. You have the support of the spirit's guides. It's also to tell you to follow your life path. 888 is abundance is coming to you. So these numbers mean a particular thing. And so what is this awakening? The awakening is pretty much facing your fears and like looking at your fears from a third person perspective, and kind of like it's not exactly being like a self-critic, but also being like a self-critic, and then looking at yourself from another perspective and seeing what you're actually going through, seeing these repeating patterns. And usually the change that we seek from outside is a change that we usually make we have to make within ourselves. And this awakening process is literally, by the words awakening, is to awaken, is to wake up somebody. Wake up somebody to what? Wake up somebody to the actual realization of what the universal laws are, and to wake up somebody to to the fact that we are living in a system that is a little bit controlled, and the system has been there over generations. So I really feel that even people themselves weren't understanding what they were doing with this system, how to gain control and all. They had this control issue, so they created a system and yada yada, and the system got changed over time. And I mean, they were also doing what they are. I always see things that we are in, the situation that we are in, from a sense of, okay, like they are also going through their own timelines. They are also going through different processes in their own timelines. They might be stressed at home, whatever, and all these stresses and all these mentalities is just a projection onto their real life. And that kind of like somehow created a system, okay, with different people and different this thing, and you got a collective consciousness. There's always a collective consciousness that is present. That is like a whole country is fearing or something, then the whole collective conscious of that country is fear. Okay, it looks like I'm speaking Greek and Latin right now, but just in basic senses, what an awakening is. An awakening is when, let's say like this, an awakening happens to you. An awakening is what it's like. It's like a teacher teaching you something about the general universal laws that actually are in place. You, as a human being, right now, if you see yourself as a human being, the human being is a part of the universe. So you are a part of the universe. So we have laws that maybe our government put or a country put, but universally there are certain things that happen because we are all energy molecules and we are constantly exchanging energies back and forth. So these things happen, and when does an awakening happen? An awakening happens when you go through more pain and suffering, and you go through situations in life that just puts you at a standstill, and you're like stuck in life, and like you don't know what to do, and at one point you just have to let go and surrender and give it up to the universe, and that's when you start talking to the universe in a way. The universe starts teaching you. So this awakening process happens the more you believe that there is a spiritual existence. And this happens when for me it happened when I typically ran out of options. I was in my mental constraint. I had an ego, I had a personality, and I framed all these things up, and I was like, oh, I am this guy because my past, this is what happened in my past, so my past reflected on me, and I am this, and I'm not going to be anybody else, and yada 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 yada. But the situation, the negative things keep happening, and it puts you in a point where you're like, wow, what do I do now? I don't have anything else to do. I have just literally run out of options, and this is how I reached my awakening. And it's literally a mass awakening. I would also say, like, since we're shifting from the Piscean age of believing, where religions and everything was the key, now we are shifting to an Aquarius age, especially with like 2013-14. We're shifting to an Aquarius age, and the essence of an Aquarius age, the motto of an Aquarius age is I know, which means all people are getting to understand the essence, the reality of life, what this is, what our life is, what the universe is. All these questions, what our life is, what the universe is, how do I overcome fear, why am I shy, why am I confident, why these negative things are happening to me, why positive cycles, they're all like, you could say like, you can all combine them as like a virtual textbook and put this as the awakening process. The awakening process has to happen slowly. For me, it took a while. It took like a year and a half or two. But even before that, I was continuously learning lessons again and again and again and again. So yeah, this is what the awakening process is. So many people keep asking me, so I just thought I should make a YouTube video. We could also link this video to That Spiritual Mindset that I have a page on Facebook that I've been running for like about 5 to 6 months now, and we could also link that to that. So consider this as what is an awakening from That Spiritual Mindset, and also by Krishwan. Okay, I'm gonna make some more videos. It's gonna be more like freestyle kind of types, And the main intent is I really want to help people. I see people on a regular basis being unhappy or trying to use their external world as a source of happiness, things like that. And when I see that, and when I see myself, me getting happiness from within me and not having to rely on any of these things, I feel a little sad in a sense. But I also want to help these people who want to ask me questions, and many times I may not have like the time to tell them, or the correct opportunity may not be there, or this particular information that I'm giving may not make sense to them at that particular point of time, but it could make sense to them maybe like a few months down the lane. And if I create this video, then a few months down the lane they can again come back to this video, see it again, and then it'll make more sense. So I think I am going to be making more of these awakening videos, and shifting to a higher consciousness, and all these, how vibrations affect each other, and a lot about the spiritual realm. Okay, just like other YouTubers that I like, Victor Odo, I like Infinite Waters, Aaron Doughty. They have been like just a fantastic inspiration to me as well. Not even an inspiration, they've just told me the truth for what it is, and I tried and tested it, and yeah, it's true. So I'm also going to be spreading this to whoever I know, whoever can pick up this information from my YouTube channel. And so it be. Alright guys, thank you guys.